Guys, I have a confession to make. I like watching challenge runs of video games. I know, crazy, right? One of my all-time favorite challenge runs has to be, is it possible to beat Mario 64 DS without Mario by Nathaniel Bandy. A video where he does exactly what the title says. He beats Mario 64 DS without Mario, which is impressive because that game requires Mario for a lot of stuff, like fighting Bowser, unlocking power-ups, and opening star doors. What's even more impressive though is the fact he's able to collect 134 out of 150 power stars with just Luigi, Wario, and Yoshi. But here's the thing, 134 stars isn't 150. There's room for improvement there, and if you ask me, quite a bit of improvement. Also, there's 4 characters in Mario 64 DS, and Bandy only removed 1. Doesn't that kinda seem like the coward's way out? A real man, nay, a real challenge runner, would do the opposite. They wouldn't remove 1, they would only play as 1 character. A real challenge runner would try and beat this game with only Yoshi, Mario 64 DS's most useless and pathetic character. And I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it so bad. But this is Nathaniel Bandy we're talking about. Nintendo YouTube royalty. How could I dare challenge him and his 1.3 million subscribers? He is a monolith, and me and Ty, we're just press A. We're just a stupid button. How could we ever hope to take him on? But then I remembered I had been in this situation before. I had taken on a bigger YouTuber and won. That YouTuber being Lemon from the Backlogs. Lemon released a video called Can You Beat Pikmin 1 with Only Yellow Pikmin? Then I did it better, which in turn created a fierce rivalry, which then blossomed into a beautiful friendship, and we took down one of the laziest plagiarists on YouTube together as a team. And Bandy, I hope you know, I expect the same thing to happen here. Because this is happening. 134 stars without Mario might have been impressive 6 years ago, but this is 2025, baby. This is the year of Yoshi. Actually, the year of Press A. So Bandy, you and the other Nintendo YouTube royalty better watch out, because we're coming for that crown. Speaking of crowns, we're going to talk about the king of standing desks, the FlexiSpot E7 Pro. The problem with a lot of standing desks is that they're really flimsy. My old desk, for example, feels like I could snap it in half with my bare hands. The FlexiSpot E7 Pro though, this thing is a tank. I can hang off of it to get my workouts in, I can lay on it to fall asleep. I'm over 200 pounds, by the way. If I tried this on my old desk, I would get seriously injured. As well as being incredibly sturdy, the top of the desk is made out of scratch-resistant bamboo that both looks great and is obviously super strong. Also, the E7 Pro has an impressive range of 25 inches, which is just over 2 feet. So whether you're short or tall, FlexiSpot has you covered. For real though guys, sitting all day is really bad for you. When I used to work my office job, I actually injured both of my hip flexors from sitting around all day. The one thing that made it go away though was getting a standing desk. If you work at a computer all day, it's probably one of the best things you can do for your personal health. So give the FlexiSpot E7 Pro a try. There's literally no risk. It has a 15-year warranty, which is insane, and a free shipping 30-day risk-free trial. So if you don't like it, you can always send it back. Also, check out FlexiSpot's C7 mats, which is quite honestly the best chair I've ever used. It has insane features like the 5D armrest, adaptive lumbar support, and if you want to go full gamer mode, you can recline and pull out the footrest. If you go to FlexiSpot.com right now and use my code C750, you can get $50 off a C7 mats, or use my code YTE7P50 to get $50 off a E7 Pro standing desk. Thank you so much to FlexiSpot for sponsoring the video, and back to the video. Guys, if you think Nathaniel Bandy is a pretty good YouTuber, please like this video. Thank you. So, even though I knew this challenge was gonna be incredibly difficult, I wanted to see how much of it I could do by myself. If somebody was gonna dethrone Nathaniel Bandy, I wanted it to be me. I didn't need any help. So even though I was completely ass at this game and probably had no chance of beating it with only Yoshi, I headed into the castle and entered the game's first world, Bob-omb Battlefield. Now, Bob-omb Battlefield was kind of tragic, because I came across the exact same problem Bandy had in his video. For some reason, this stupid turtle only wants to race Mario. He won't race Wario, he won't race Luigi, and he certainly won't race Yoshi. This creates a pretty big problem for us. Since we can't actually beat Mission 2, the game won't let us select Mission 3 even if we obtain stars after it. You can see here, I can't select the mission even though it looks like I should be able to. So even though we would physically be able to do star 3, we can't actually get it because the silver stars won't spawn unless we choose that specific mission. The same goes for star 4. Since we haven't beaten the previous missions, we can't select it and King Bob-omb just won't spawn on his mountain. And even if we could, we couldn't beat him anyways, so we're just fucked. The good news is that the rest of the stars in the level were completely easy. Even winged Mario takes to the sky. Normally, you would need the wing cap for this one, but with some well-aimed cannon shots, you can get the star just fine. With all said and done, we left the level with 5 out of 8 stars. The exact same amount that Bandy got in his run. And considering he had 2 more characters to work with, I thought we were off to a pretty good start. The next level though, Whomp's Fortress, I was a bit nervous about. In his video, Bandy collected every star in this level, and I just didn't know if that was going to be possible for us. But surprisingly, the level was pretty easy. We were able to knock off each star one by one, and the only one that really gave us some trouble was this one where you're supposed to collect the red coins on the floating islands. Normally, you're supposed to knock down this wooden beam, which gives you access to the coins. But since Yoshi is absolutely useless, we can't kick, and therefore, we can't knock down the beam. Luckily though, I could use the same trick Bandy used in his run, to jump on top of this beam, then onto the floating islands to grab the coins. Yeah, everything was going great in Whomp's Fortress. That was until we reached this brick block. The fucking bane of this run's existence. If you didn't know, Yoshi is the only character in the game that can't break these blocks. Every other character can. They can just punch them. But Yoshi, no matter what he does, can't break these blocks. Which you wouldn't think would be that big of an issue, but for some reason, this game loves putting things in these stupid brick blocks. Like silver stars, red coins, and in the case of star 7 in Whomp's Fortress, a switch star switch. Yeah, to make this switch star spawn, you have to break this block and hit this switch, which we can't do. Bandy also couldn't do it either, but he had the luxury of coming back to the level once he unlocked Wario and Luigi and just breaking it then. We unfortunately don't have that same luxury. We're stuck with this stupid dinosaur and can't do anything about it. This block and this star are going to remain unconquered. Which meant only 2 levels in, our star count had already fallen behind Bandy's. At least, that's what I thought.
So why am I not falling through it then?
Oh shit! What you just witnessed is called block clipping. And if we have any chance to beat Bandy in this challenge, block clipping is going to have to play a huge role for us. To perform a block clip, all you have to do is jump on a block near a wall, bring the camera into first person, then turn until the wall disappears. The camera will then get stuck in the wall, which will cause the block to become intangible because it's no longer on the screen. Now all you have to do is press the A or B button and Yoshi will fall straight through the block. This allows us to hit the switch and run over to the star, collecting it with a character it's never meant to be collected with. With the star now collected, we had attained every star in the level, and more importantly, kept pace with Bandy's star count. But that was about to change, because the next level in our sights was Jolly Roger Bay, and Jolly Roger Bay was going to be a problem. Specifically, stars 6 and 7. Every other star was easy, but 6 and 7 were going to be an issue. Star 6, Switch Star of the Bay, needs Luigi and the red power-up bots to obtain. We can't unlock Luigi, and even if we could, we can't get power-ups because you need Mario and his wing cap to do so. The nice thing was, though, that Bandy couldn't get this star either, which was really good because I had no idea how we would ever get this. Star 7, through the jet stream, he could get though. This star normally requires Wario and the red power-up bots to obtain. But since Bandy couldn't unlock power-ups in his run, he had to use a trick called water storage to actually get it. This trick involves you getting a shell and jumping into the water and spinning it out as soon as you hit it. If done correctly, Yoshi will ride the shell underwater almost like he's completely ignoring it. Now, you can ride down towards the star, get rid of the shell, and use Yoshi's tongue to grab it. There's just one problem though. The shell we need to perform this trick is inside one of these fucking blocks. Bandy used a Luigi cap before he entered the stage, so he was able to break open the bots. But we can't do that. We can't use caps. We can't use anybody. We just have Yoshi, and again, Yoshi can't break these blocks. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why don't you just clip through the bots the same way you did in Whomp's Fortress and grab the shell? Well, it's because you can't. You can't clip through this bots. It's not close enough to the wall. Remember how I said getting the camera stuck in the wall is what makes the bots become intangible? Well, since the wall is so far away, we can't do that, so the bots just remain solid. Which means we can't get this shell, and if we can't get the shell, we can't get the star. So unfortunately, only 3 levels in, Bandy is already up 1 star on us. Things weren't looking good, and I was already regretting doing this challenge and talking so much shit in the intro. And guess what? Things weren't about to get better, because the next level, Cool Mountain, was kind of a shit show. The first star, Slip Sliding Away, was easy enough. But the level's second star, where you have to return this lost little penguin to his mother, was going to be a problem. Mostly because Yoshi can't actually pick him up. All Yoshi can do is use his tongue, and the little penguin's not too fond of that. So you can't actually move him in your mouth. Bandy also had this same problem, but once again, he had Luigi to come to his rescue. We, once again, don't have that same luxury. But randomly, when I was playing around with the penguin, I noticed something. When Yoshi swallows him and spits him back out, he moves a short distance. So I just kept doing this. And as I moved further and further down the mountain, I was starting to realize that this might be possible. I might be able to bring this little penguin back with just Yoshi. Something that not even Bandy could do. It was going to happen. I was getting so close, and there was nothing stopping me now. What? Yeah, even if you bring him the entire way, it doesn't matter. You need to be holding him to actually get the star. So, I basically wasted 30 minutes of my life spitting this penguin out over and over again for absolutely nothing. Oh yeah, and since we couldn't get the star, we couldn't get Snowman's lost head either, because it's another mission-specific star, and we can't choose it because we didn't get star 2. To make things even worse, we couldn't get star 7 either. Hitting the switch star was easy enough, but unfortunately, you need Wario to break this ice so you can actually get the star. So yeah, 3 stars in the level that we can't get, that Bandy could. Things are not looking good. So, the last level on floor 1 that we had to tackle was Big Boo's Haunt. And do you want to know what's absolutely devastating about Big Boo's Haunt? We can't enter it. Like, at all. Yeah, for some reason, Yoshi just can't kill Boos in this game. And if we can't kill Boos, we can't get into Big Boo's Haunt. We also can't get the red coin star out here, because most of the red coins are inside of Boos. Now, Bandy was able to get every star in the level except for 1, eye to eye in the secret room. Which means, if we count the red coin star, we are now down another 8 stars to him, making 12 in total. This challenge was getting out of control, but I wasn't losing hope. I couldn't. I didn't have a choice, because coming up was one of the hardest tricks in the run so far, and I had to somehow get myself together and pull it off. The trick I'm of course talking about is Moat Skip, a trick used in Mario 64DS speedruns to skip having to fight the first Bowser and head straight to the basement. The reason we have to do this is because Yoshi can't kill the first Bowser, because once again, Yoshi can't grab. So to bypass this, we need Moat Skip. Now, I've talked pretty in depth about Moat Skip in a couple of videos, so if you want some more detailed explanation, go watch those. But basically, all you have to do is slide down this hill into the castle wall, hold down and mash the A button. If done correctly, it'll send Yoshi straight into the floor and he'll be able to walk underwater and enter the basement door. Now, like I said, I've talked about this skip a lot, but I've never actually done it myself, and it turns out it's really hard. If you're not in the right position, you won't hit the wall correctly, and if you don't jump high enough up the slope, you won't have enough speed to hit the wall. And to top it all off, the A-B button press at the wall is frame perfect. It's just precise positioning and a lot of buttons that have to be hit in a very short amount of time. It's not easy, but after 30 minutes of trying, this happened. Oh, we f***ing did it! We f***ing did it! So now, we were in the basement, and let me tell you, the basement was not kind to us. Aside from Lethal Lava Land, where we were able to collect every star, the basement was kind of brutal. In Hazy Maze Cave, for example, we couldn't collect 4 stars. Swimming Beast in the Cavern requires Wario to break this rock. Elevate for 8 red coins requires anyone but Yoshi to break these blocks to get coins. Watch for Rolling Rots requires Wario to break these rocks. And the Underground Switch Star requires Wario to break this black block. We were able to do the same out of bounds glitch Bandy did to get the Mario Head Wario Can Move star, so I guess that was cool. All we had to do was stand on this block, perform a block clip to get out of bounds, swim in the out of bounds water, making sure to stay near the level geometry so we didn't fall off the stage, then hop out the water here and enter the door where the star is. I tried doing the same thing for the Underground Switch Star, but unfortunately the camera clip just kept getting me out of bounds and not actually in the block. So I couldn't hit the switch, which meant I couldn't get the star. In Shifting Sandland, we were able to open up the pyramid and stand tall on 4 pillars, but as soon as we entered it, we were stopped by this brick block that stands between us and the boss. Toybot's Switch Star has another black block that we can't break without Wario, and Pyramid Puzzle is another mission-specific star that we can't choose because we didn't complete the 2 before it. We also can't get through the 30 star door that leads to Dire Dire Dots and Bowser in the Fire Sea. For whatever reason, only Mario can open these doors. So even though we have enough stars, we can't actually get through it because we only have Yoshi. Luckily, we can use the skip that Bandy used in his video, where he uses a rabbit to clip out of bounds, then swims in the out of bounds area until he reaches the entrance for Bowser in the Fire Sea, where we can get both the Switch Star and the Red Coin Star. Unfortunately, Dire Dire Dots is a different story though. Dire Dire Dots has the Koopa Surf Switch Star, which we can't get because, you guessed it, a black block again. It also has Inside the Cage, which we need Luigi's invisible cap for. Just like Bandy, I was able to perform the trick with the sub that sends you down to the floor and allows you to grab the Through the Jetstream star. Is what I would say if I wasn't stupid and completely forgot that the sub doesn't respawn once you grab the first star. So when I came back, the sub just wasn't there and I couldn't perform the trick. I did try using the shell to get down there, but once I did, I realized I had no way up the huge tunnel, so I gave up. I also wasn't about to restart this run just to get 1 star, so even though I technically didn't get it, we're gonna count it like I did. Bandy himself said it's one of the easier tricks to pull off in the run, so I'm sure a professional challenge runner like myself could have easily pulled it off. Anyways, we were able to get the Red Coin Star in Shifting Sandland, surprisingly enough. I thought it would be impossible to get the red coin stuck in this block, especially after I tried using ball bombs to blow it up, but could just never get close enough. But it turns out, spinning out these small boxes somehow breaks the brick ones. Yeah, I honestly couldn't believe that it worked that way, but it does. For the coins way up in the air, I just got them by flutter jumping off each of the stone pillars. This one was giving me a bit of trouble because it seemed just out of my reach. But then I remembered Yoshi can just use his tongue to grab coins, and then it was super easy. But yeah, like I said, the basement wasn't kind to us. Bandy was able to get 8 stars that we couldn't. The only one he wasn't able to get was the inside the cage star, because even though he had Luigi, once again, he couldn't use power-ups. So, yeah, that raises our total up to only 20 behind Bandy. Surely, the other floors will be better, right? Speaking of those other floors, how the hell are we actually going to reach them? Even though we could enter Bowser in the Fire Sea, we couldn't actually kill Bowser, so we never got the second door key. Now, speedrunners skip this second key all the time with a trick called 2K DS, or 2-key door skip. Basically, you can triple jump up to this pillar in the Jolly Roger Bay room, then perform what's called a Heaven's Portal to send Mario flying in the air. Then, if you direct him towards the second key door, you can hit the loading zone and make your way up to the second floor. The problem is, Yoshi can't jump high enough to actually reach the pillar in the Jolly Roger Bay room. So 2K DS isn't an option for us. So what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna do exactly what Bandy did in his video. Use a task created by a speedrunner named Adeal. Now, in Bandy's video, he shows Adeal triggering this 1-up mushroom, running by the pillar, jumping, then swallowing the mushroom. He then backflips out of this because Yoshi has exactly 1 frame where he can jump again after eating an item. This then allows him to land on the pillar, walk in the out of bounds area until he reaches the area where the 1-up is spawned from, which he uses to clip into the next room and perform a Heaven's Portal, which allows him to reach the loading zone for the second key door. Now, listen, I know I said I was gonna try to do every trick in this run myself, but getting up to the second floor in this game with only Yoshi is legitimately task only. It's theorized that it could be done by a human, but that human is not me. Remember, I'm ass at this game. Mode skip, a trick that speedrunners can do in their sleep, took me almost a full hour to pull off. And besides, I didn't want to bring robots into this. That one's on Bandy. So if he gets to use robots, I think it's only fair that I get to use robots too. I'm totally not just salty and bad at this game. Anyways, using Adeal's sweet robot trick, we're able to make it up to the second floor with only Yoshi. Thankfully, the second floor was a little bit more kind to us than the basement was. In Snowman's Land, the only star we couldn't get was Into the Igloo, because you need the invis cap to actually get through this grate. The good news was that Bandy also couldn't get this star, so we actually left the level tied in star count, which felt like a huge win because things have been going so badly. Wet Dry World kind of sucked because we couldn't get the Go to Town for red coin star, simply because there was a bunch of red coins in these fucking boxes, which only happen to spawn when you break them open, so we couldn't even clip inside of them and get them if we wanted to. Since we couldn't get that star, we also couldn't get soaked silver stars either, because it's mission specific. We could, however, use the same out of bounds trick Bandy did by clipping out of bounds with this box, swimming in the out of bounds area, hitting a specific loading zone to load in the town, then continue swimming out of bounds until we reach the star. Tall Mountain was mostly doable, except for breathtaking view from the bridge, which requires Wario to break this box. 5 Secrets of the Mountain, however, was doable, which kind of surprised me because I definitely thought we would need Mario's wing cap to get these coins. But by using the owl that spawns in the level, we could drop down from a higher elevation and nab the coins one at a time. Tiny Huge Island was mostly good, but also frustrating at the same time. Once again, this stupid Koopa only wants to race Mario, and refuses to recognize Yoshi as a person, so we couldn't get this star, or Klepto the Condor, which is a mission-specific star, and we can't choose it because of the previous one. Thankfully though, Bandy couldn't get these ones either, so it wasn't all that bad. So the only levels we have left are the 2 on the 3rd floor. But to actually get there, we need to get past the 50-star door that only Mario can open, so we can't reach them. Bandy, however, was able to reach them, but he used another task created by Adeal, who used Wario to clip through this mirror, clip out of bounds, then perform a Heaven's Portal to get upstairs. But there's a problem. He didn't use Yoshi for this. So, unlike the first time, I can't just assume that Yoshi is able to do this, because I don't have proof that he actually can. I also can't do this myself, and getting a task made of only Yoshi doing this would be really hard. We don't have the same pull or connections that a huge YouTuber like Nathaniel Bandy has. We here at Press A are a small operation, not like the capitalist machine that Nathaniel Bandy's channel is. So even though I hate to say it, these last 2 levels are out of reach, which means that is another 16 stars we can't collect that Bandy can, bringing our total number of stars behind Bandy up to 39. But we still have the castle secret stars. Surely those can help us, right? Well, we can't get the star in the question mark switch level because we just fall straight down there. Behind the waterfall with Balloon Mario is out of reach as well. Both secret under the moat stars can't be obtained because this black block. Same with the over the rainbow stars because we can't fly with Mario. The 2 Bowser in the Sky stars are also out of reach because we can't physically get to the level. The Courtyard red coins, Big Boo Battle red coins, and Big Boo Battle through the Boo portrait can't be obtained either because we can't kill Boos. The 2 stars in the Goomboss battle stage and the 2 in Chief Chili's challenge require Wario and Luigi, so those won't work either. Huh. Maybe we should look at some we can get. The Sunshine Isles, Secret Aquarium, Bowser in the Fire Sea, Glowing Rabbits, and 2 stars from the Princess Peach's Secret Slide were all easily attainable. So were the 3 stars given to us by these toads, who are the only NPCs in the game who seemingly don't hate Yoshi. Also, Bandy proved with Adeal's tasks that we could enter Bowser in the Dark World and get behind the mirror with only Yoshi, so I guess technically that means we could get these ones as well. That left us with 2 stars remaining. The red coins behind the waterfall and the secret of the battle fort. 2 stars I thought we had a real chance of getting, but I knew were going to be hard. But for my pride, for my sanity, I knew we had to get them. The first one I tackled was the Battle Fort star. To actually enter the level, you need to head to the Boo's courtyard and break open these brick blocks. Now, I was pretty confident I could clip through them in the same way we did in Womp's Fortress, but when I tried clipping into the one closest to the wall, I just got stuck in the block because the actual entrance for the level is the one beside it. The one that's not close to the wall. To be honest, I was really skeptical that we could clip into this one. But it turns out we were just close enough to actually get the camera stuck, turn the block intangible, and fall right into the level. Once I was there, I was able to get these bob-ombs to break open these blocks and collect every silver star, no problem. Now, getting the last star, the red coins behind the waterfall, was absolute hell. In Bandy's video, he made it seem like it was easy, and most of the coins were. Every coin but this one. No matter what angle I came from or how I jumped into the water, I could never get deep enough to actually touch the coin. I tried everything. I tried ground pounding, lawn jumping, slide kicking, flutter jumping. I even tried jumping from these crystals to get some extra height, thinking it would send me deeper into the water. But no matter what I did, nothing worked. Yoshi just seemed like he swam too slow to get the coin. That had to be it, right? I had spent what felt like hours trying to get this coin, and Bandy breezed over it in his video like it was absolutely nothing. Maybe he was just the superior gamer. Maybe he was just the better YouTuber. No, I couldn't think like that. I had to do this for my own pride, for my own self-worth. He had already taken so much from me in this challenge. I wasn't gonna let him take one more thing. So one last time, I jumped into the water and tried to grab that fucking coin.
Holy shit! Okay, it's possible.
Through sheer dumb luck and spamming my buttons, I somehow grabbed at the exact time Yoshi passed over the coin, which gave me just enough reach to actually grab it, granting us the behind the waterfall coin star, even though it seemed like it was not going to be possible. Now, that was all well and good, but let's be honest, it was a hollow victory. Sure, we had gotten the star, but it didn't really matter. I had only obtained 88 stars, 46 behind Bandy's total of 134. I wasn't even close, and this couldn't be looked at in any other way than complete and utter failure. There was nothing left to do, no more levels we could enter, no more stars we could get. It was over, the challenge was done. Wait, what is that? What is that noise? That's right, Adeal's working for me now, bitches! Yes, the same Adeal that helped Bandy with all the crazy tricks in his video. They have now turned double agent and are no longer helping Nathaniel Bandy. They are helping Press A. Did you really think I would just roll over and die? Because I'm not. This challenge isn't over. We only need 46 stars to tie Bandy's total of 134. And guess what? With Adeal's help, we're gonna get every single one of them. The first thing Adeal did was show me it was possible to get with the third floor with only Yoshi. He clipped through the mirror, through the Wario painting, then performed a Heaven's Portal which sent him flying up to the third floor. And now that we can get here, we can just obtain every star in TikTok Clock in Rainbow Ride. Rainbow Ride did have star 7, which was kind of tricky as you're normally supposed to use Balloon Mario to obtain this switch star. But if you long jump from the carpet and hit the switch, you have just enough time to make it back to the carpet, which will bring you up to the star just before the timer runs out. TikTok Clock had 2 tricky stars, Luigi in the cage and timed jumps on moving bars. For Luigi in the cage, you need to use Luigi and the Invis Cap to make it through this cage and grab the star. For time jumps on moving bars, you're supposed to use Wario to break open this block, which will allow you to grab the star inside. But guess what? Adeal had a way around both of these. To get past the cage, all he did was slide kick into this block to get out of bounds, then flutter kicked off the seam of the wall and straight into the cage. For the moving bar star, all he had to do was line up a precise triple jump and aim Yoshi at a slight gap in between the cage and the block. If done correctly, you can land on that small gap and squeeze your way past the block and nab the star, bringing our once meager total of 88 up to 104, meaning we were only 30 stars behind now, which is pretty good, but hold on to your butts because Adeal isn't done yet. They actually went back through a bunch of old levels and took a look at some stars that I deemed impossible, and let's just say they proved me wrong. The first level they went to was Dire Dots, where they pulled off some absolute crazy shenanigans to get the Koopa Switch Star. What they did was go through the entire level so they could collect 99 coins. Then they swam back to the start and lured this skeeter enemy onto the land near the black block. Once they were there, they swallowed the enemy at the same time they hopped onto the shell, which stopped them from getting the single coin the enemy normally gives you once swallowed. Then they quickly jumped on the block, spit out the enemy, swallowed it back up to collect the single coin, which spawns the 100 coin star above the block, which once collected will clip them through it and allow them to hit the switch. Then, getting the actual star is easy. To get the star inside the cage, they had to implement something called quantum tunneling. Now, I explained what quantum tunneling was in depth in my How Many Stars Are Needed to Beat Mario 64 DS video, so if you want to know more, go check out that. But basically, the gist of it is that Nintendo made a big mistake when programming the floor in this game. they left little gaps in between the triangles that make up the floor in Mario 64 DS. And if you jump at the right speed and right location, you can just jump right through them. Obviously, I'm simplifying this to a great degree, and it's actually really precise and really hard to pull off. Most quantum tunnels are completely task only, with only a couple being able to be done by humans. But yeah, Adeal comes over to the deck area here, and with the correct speed and location, they are able to clip through the floor and swim in the out of bounds area until they reach behind the cage where they're able to grab the star. Speaking of quantum tunneling, they're actually able to perform another one in Snowman's Land to grab what I thought was another impossible star. The Into the Igloo star, which requires Luigi and the Invis Cap. Yeah, Adeal just turns it into a complete joke. First, they hop in this cannon and perform maybe one of the coolest ways to get into the igloo that I've ever seen. Once inside, they find their tunneling spot, jump into the air, and clip through the cage like it's not even there, turning what I thought was a completely impossible star into what is basically a walk in the park. That also marks the first time we've obtained a star that Bandy couldn't get in his original run. I want to be happy because getting this star is so cool, but that fact is just so sad and depressing. But what's not sad and depressing is what Adeal did in the Under the Moat level. They were able to get both stars, which honestly blew my mind. To get the red coin star, they obviously collected all the coins, which seemed pretty easy. But then instead of using Luigi and the Invis Cap, they just flutter jumped underneath the stage. Obviously, this is a precise flutter jump, but it kind of made me laugh how simple of a solution it was. To get the balloon Mario Switch star, they first flutter jumped across this gap to hit the switch. Then flutter jumped back across and performed what's called a fast slide kick to make their way up the slope. This is done by holding the R button and mashing A and B in a rhythmic fashion, which allows Yoshi to climb up slopes he's normally not able to. Since he's normally not supposed to be able to climb up the slope, when he reaches the top, he clips through the floor and out of bounds. Now, they can walk along the seam of the level, slide down the slope, then perform a Heaven's Portal, which sends them flying into the air. Even though they're up there for a really long time, they're able to drop down just before the timer ends and nab themselves the star. If you're wondering how they got into the moat level in the first place, because that's the problem I originally had, they just used something called pause clipping. To perform a pause clip, all you have to do is perform a ground pound, and the exact frame you're about to hit the object, you need to pause the game. Now, if you're in an area that zooms the camera way out, like when you pause outside the castle, the block will become unloaded for exactly 1 frame. Since you're exactly 1 frame away from hitting the block, and it's now gone for that 1 frame, you clip right through it. Unfortunately, this wouldn't work in other areas that doesn't zoom out the camera like this, but for getting under the moat, it's perfect. Now, the last thing Adeal did was basically just tell me, hey, you can skip the endless staircase with Yoshi just like Bandy did in his video with Luigi. So I promptly did so by slide kicking into this wall, performing a Heaven's Portal, which got me past the endless staircase and into the final level, where I was able to collect both stars fairly easily. All in all, Adeal was able to get me 23 stars, bringing our total up to 111, and leaving us only 23 stars behind Bandy. Adeal had essentially cut our deficit in half, which is insane, but it still wasn't enough. We were still 23 behind Bandy, with basically only impossible stars left to collect. Like, if Adeal couldn't get them, they were basically impossible, let's be honest. There was nothing left to do, nowhere else to turn. So, unfortunately, I had to do something I really didn't want to do. I had to allow the use of caps. But not all caps, because that would allow us to get every star super easily, and that would be really boring. Basically, I allow caps that only spawned naturally in a level. If you didn't know, when you unlock a character in this game, their cap will start spawning in basically every level, and you'll be able to choose it on the touchscreen before you enter one. But there are also caps that will spawn naturally in levels even if you haven't unlocked the character yet. So if we use some mental gymnastics and convince ourselves that even if we use one of these caps, we're not using a different character because we haven't actually unlocked them, then we could get some extra stars and maybe catch Bandy. Luckily for us, some of these naturally occurring caps spawn in missions that we still need stars in. Like this cap that spawns in the Foot Race with Koopa the Quick mission in Bob-omb Battlefield. If we take one off this Goomba, we can beat Koopa the Quick and get ourselves the star, which actually unlocks star 3 for us because since we beat the mission before, we can now choose it. Thankfully too, it's actually super easy and getting this star is no problem. Now we can do star 5 and use the cap that naturally spawns on this Goomba to defeat King Bob-omb. Another mission that has a naturally spawning cap is Little Penguin Lost in Cool Cool Mountain. If we come down here and grab the cap, completing the star is no issue at all. Like Bob-omb Battlefield, this opens up star 5 for us, which we can get with Yoshi no problem. Finally, the last level we can use this disgusting loophole in is Hazy Maze Cave. A Wario cap will always spawn on top of Dory in the first mission, which allows us to break this boulder and get a star. Then, in mission 6, a cap spawns on this Goomba, which we can use to break a bunch of boulders and nab ourselves our final, totally legitimate star. So, where does that leave us? Before we completely broke the rules, we had 111 stars, and we're 23 behind Bandy. Well, we only got 7 stars by doing that, so we brought our total up to 118. Which is cool, but we're still 16 away from our goal. And at this point, I was done. I had no more tricks up my sleeve. No more Adeals waiting to come rescue me. No more bending of the rules. I had nothing. I was finished. So, with nothing else left to do, I went to bed knowing that myself and this video would be a complete failure. But then, when I woke up the next morning, I woke up to a Discord ping. A Discord ping that would completely change the course of this video and this challenge forever. It simply said, "This sheet is more comprehensive and includes video links," followed by a link leading to God knows where. So I clicked the link, and what happened next was honestly something I couldn't believe. It was an entire list of every single star in the game and said exactly which characters could unlock what. As I scrolled down the Yoshi column, the amount of yeses I saw and which ones they were saying yes to honestly shocked me. Switch Star of the Bay, stand tall on the 4 pillars, breathtaking view from the bridge? How were all of these possible? I had to find out. So I clicked a couple of links and they took me to some unlisted YouTube videos. If you didn't know, unlisted YouTube videos are basically videos that won't show up on the website at all unless you have a link for it. Finding these videos felt wrong. It felt like I was seeing something I wasn't supposed to see. Like I had caught some glimpse of some forbidden knowledge that should never have seen the light of day. I had been given the ultimate tool to take down Nathaniel Bandy, and I was gonna use it to its fullest potential. So the first link I clicked on was through the jet stream. This was one where we tried using water storage, but couldn't actually do it because we needed Mario's cap to break open this block. But, yeah, it turns out you can just quantum tunnel to the floor here, swim out of bounds, and then when you clip back in bounds, Yoshi will react the same way he does with water storage, letting him walk on the ground and grab the star with his tongue. The next one I opened up was the Switch Star of Cool Cool Mountain. As you can see here, Migu does an insane long jump off the top of the mountain, lands right on this sign, hits the switch, gets blown into the air by the wind, jumps on top of the house, then he clips out of bounds with a slide kick rollout and flutter jumps to the star. After that one, I stumbled upon this video by Seiko Now, where he gets the elevated for 8 red coin star, and this one legit blew my mind. So the first thing he does is clip out of bounds using this black block in the room where the red coins are. Then he makes his way along the seam of the level until he reaches the slope by the toxic maze, where he promptly performs a heaven's portal so he can land back in the first room of the level. By doing this, he keeps the red coin room and the first room of the level loaded at the same time, which normally isn't supposed to happen. Now that both rooms are loaded, he heads back to the black block, clips out of bounds again, and performs another heaven's portal to go back to the first room a second time. He does this so he can grab this small bots, which he will use to break the bigger ones holding the red coins. Then, using a very specific angle, he's able to spit the bots through the wall in the first room so it enters the room with the red coins. If he didn't have both rooms loaded at once, the bots would have despawned as soon as he entered the new room, so that's why he did that, in case you're wondering. Now that he has the bots though, he can use it to break open the red ones and get the star. So remember how I tried clipping through this block earlier and just couldn't? Well, it turns out all I had to do was just step back from the wall a bit. Yeah, by doing that and ground pounding as soon as you clip through it, you can hit the switch, walk out of the block, and get the star no problem. Stand tall on 4 pillars would have been easy, if it weren't for this block stopping us from getting to the boss fight. Funnily enough though, the way that Rupa gets around this block is easy as well. If you go in the first person while on an elevator, the camera, for some reason, will just keep zooming out. I actually tried this myself in Hazy Maze Cave, and yeah, you can see like half the level by just pressing Y and riding an elevator. So yeah, he goes into first person while riding the elevator down to the boss fight, which causes the camera to zoom out and the block blocking our path to despawn. Now Rupa can just walk straight into the boss fight and kill the boss with some slag kicks. Now, if you thought the red coin star in Hazy Maze Cave was crazy, it ain't got nothing on this next one. To get this star normally, you normally have to use Wario to break this black block, hit the switch, and race over to the star. Now, obviously, they can't do that, so instead, they want to collect a star right above the block and clip into it. The problem is, the only way you can spawn a star is with 100 coins or silver stars. And since there's no silver stars in this level, they are gonna have to use 100 coins. But there isn't even 100 coins outside of the pyramid. Normally, you have to go inside to collect all of them. So, to get around this, they're gonna have to use a glitch that allows crazy bosses to spawn infinite coins if they're grabbed underwater. But since the crazy bots in this level isn't spawned near any water, they're gonna have to do a lot of crazy shit to actually make it work. First, they have to slowly move it to the same vertical height as the small body of water over here. They do this by eating the crazy bots and canceling the eating animation with the tornado right before it goes in their mouth. Now that it's at the same level as the water, he grabs a shell and performs water storage in this little pond by the pyramid. We haven't really talked about this yet, but if you perform water storage above land and bonk into something, the water will basically get transferred and you'll be able to swim wherever you bonked. So they bonk into the side of the pyramid and land in the water at the same level as the bots, which they can now swim to, grab, and get an infinite amount of coins from. However, they can't collect 100 coins this way because they have to pull off another glitch to get the star in the right spot. So they kill a Pokey, grab the blue coin, the star spawns, then they lure over this fly guy and jump on its head just as they eat the star. This causes the eating animation to get cancelled, so the getting the star animation doesn't play. Now, they have to continuously jump to the other side of the pyramid because if they don't, the star animation will play and they'll get the star. Once they get over there, they line themselves up with the black block and spit out the star. Since stars normally aren't supposed to be spit out, doing so causes it to act in a couple of weird ways. It will always move forward, and it will always have a little bit of upwards momentum. By shooting the star at the floor though, he cancels this upward momentum, but the horizontal momentum stays. So it slowly floats over to where the black block is, while they race over there with Yoshi. The last thing they need to do is make sure when they grab the star, that the black block isn't on the screen. This makes sure when they actually grab the star, that it stays unloaded and they can clip through it. So as soon as the star makes its way over, they grab it over the block, clip through it, and hit the switch, which allows them to get the star. Since both of the previous stars are now collected, we can grab the pyramid puzzle star like normal, finishing off Shifting Sandland for good. Next up is Breathtaking View from the Bridge. To get this star, Really Tall swallows a Goomba, takes a ride on this owl, and lands near this post. Now, she ground pounds the post, making the Mega Mushroom appear, then does the exact same thing Adeal did with the star, where they swallowed it and jumped on something to cancel the animation. Now, Really Tall makes her way over to the black block, making sure to be constantly jumping the entire way. Once she reaches it, she lands on the ground, which triggers the Mega Mushroom, breaking the block and granting her the star. The Through the Waterfall balloon star I definitely thought was going to be impossible because it's super high up and you normally need Balloon Mario to reach it. But Adeal just uses the mechanic where you can jump for 1 frame after swallowing to make it up there. They first swallow a Goomba and use it to jump up to the coins, then continuously swallow the coins while jumping frame perfectly until they reach the top where they're able to use a backflip ground pound combo to reach the star. For the 8 red coin star in Chief Chili's challenge, Bobby Bob collects 6 out of the 8 red coins with ease, then jumps over this fence, slides down the slope, and Flutterkid jumps over to the area you normally need Balloon Mario to access, then he long jumps back over to the main stage and tunnels through the ground, getting him into the cage you need Luigi and the Invis Cap for. Now, he can grab the last coin while making sure not to walk in bounds, then flutter jump back to where he started from so he could grab the star. So after going through all of those stars, there were only 5 more that I had yet to click on. 5 stars that all had one thing in common. They all had the word rig written beside them. Now, at the time, I didn't know what rig meant, and now that I do, I still don't really know if I know what it means. I guess the best way I could describe it is, black magic. Because if you have a source that spawns an infinite amount of objects, you can basically get any star in the game. It's super complicated though, so I won't be explaining all of it in this video. If you want to know more though, you can check out this video by HayashiSTL, where he goes in depth explaining the trick. But basically, RIG stands for Remote Interaction Glitch, and it's incredibly powerful. Basically, when an object spawns in this game, it's assigned a unique ID. This could be anything from a flame being shot out to a 1-up that's spawned from a bot. Now, each time a new object enters the screen, this unique ID will be incremented by 1. Where things really get fun though, is if you were to spawn enough objects, you could theoretically overflow this counter and cause the unique ID counter to start back at 0. This would mean that some objects could be given the same unique ID. Now, you're probably thinking, why do we care about this? What do these unique IDs even do for us? Well, for some reason, when Yoshi tries to eat an object, the game checks what the unique ID of the object is and teleports it to the tip of his tongue. So let's just say a star has a unique ID of 200. Theoretically, if we spawned enough flames out of this guy to overflow the counter, then 199 more to increment the unique ID counter to 199, the next flame that spawns would have a unique ID of 200, the exact same as the star. So if we were to then eat the flame with Yoshi, the game would check the ID of the object, see that there's 2 objects that have the same ID, then it would prioritize the object that spawned first in the level, which would be the star. So then it would just teleport the star right to Yoshi's mouth, granting us it even though we had just eaten fire instead. Now, the creator of this video, HayashiSTL, estimated it would take 420 years to spawn enough fire to overflow the counter. So, while it technically is possible, let's just say I won't be doing it for this challenge. I won't be breaking down a wall for 12 hours, and I certainly won't be spawning flames for the next 420 years. I feel like there's a 420 Blaze It joke in here somewhere, but I just can't find it. But anyways, what all these 5 levels have in common is that they all have an enemy that spawns objects infinitely. So theoretically, we could use the flame guys in Wet Dry World to get both the soaked silver stars star and the go to town for the red coin star. Both stars that require breaking open a red block to get the collectible inside, which is why we can't get them normally. The same could be said for the 2 stars located in the Goomba boss stage. Instead of using the fire guys, we could just use this Lakitu who infinitely spawns these spinies. Normally, you would need Luigi and the Invis Cap to get the 8 red coins, and Mario and his wall jumps to get the Switch Star. Yeah, for some reason, Yoshi just can't do wall jumps. I don't know why, but he just can't. Now, the last star on our list, the Switch Star of the Bay, doesn't actually have any enemies that can spawn infinite objects. Or at least, not at first glance. When you open up one of these chests located in the cave, it spawns one of these numbers. This number counts as an object. So what you would have to do is open up 2 chests, then open up the next one in the incorrect order, which would reset all the chests again. Then you could run back to the water, regain your HP, and do it over and over again for the next 500 years. This, unfortunately, seems to be the only way to get this star in this cage. Okay, so now that that's done with, now that we've used Adeal's insane tasks, borderline cheated and spawned infinite objects for thousands of years, where does that leave our star count? Just how many did we get? Well, you're not gonna believe this, but we got 133. Exactly 1 star behind Bandy. Now, you're probably thinking, there has to be at least 1 more. I'm sure there's 1 star out there that you could get to at least tie him, right? Well, I hate to say it, but you're wrong. That's it. That's the end of the line. 133 stars is all we are able to get. The other 17 stars are completely unobtainable. There are 11 alone that we can't get because we can't kill Boos. There are 8 stars in Big Boo's Haunt, 1 in the courtyard, and 2 in the Big Boo battle stage, which we can't enter because we can't get into Big Boo's Haunt. We also can't get the question mark Switch Star because when we enter the level with Yoshi, we fall straight down to our deaths. The Black Blot Stars in Chief Chili's Challenge and Over the Rainbow also can't be obtained because the stars don't spawn unless you break the blots. So clipping into them would be pointless, and we can't use Rig because both of these levels don't have enemies that spawn infinite objects. There's also the star in Tiny Huge Island that can't be obtained because Koopa the Quick won't talk to us. And the star after, we can't choose because we can't beat the Koopa the Quick mission. There was one hope, however. If you look at the document, under Over the Rainbow 8 red coins, it says yes under the Yoshi column. So I clicked it and proceeded to watch Adeal perform their magic. Through a number of precise cannon shots and jumps, they were able to obtain all 8 red coins. Once they did this, they hopped on this pole to spawn a 1-up, and then quickly jumped in the cannon and shot over to another island. The 1-up then follows them to the island where they do a quick jump off this box, swallows the 1-up, does a frame perfect jump, then swallows the coin and does another one. So they can reach the underside of this cloud, which apparently you can hang off of. Then they do a precise flutter jump, which gets them on top of the cloud and they grab the star. After watching this, I was elated because it meant we could at least tie Bandy and not lose the challenge. But there was something confusing me. Adeal kept telling me that this star was impossible, but I had just watched him do it, so it clearly wasn't. So I sent him the footage of his own tasks, hoping to get an explanation. And what he sent back was a piercing blow to the hopes of this challenge and through my very own heart. Yes, but this one needs Mario to open the power-up boxes. In my elated state, I completely ignored the fact that they had used a power-up block to jump off of to get themselves the star. The power-up blocks that are completely impossible for us to unlock. Adeal did try getting the star without the block, but it turned out to be impossible. Without it, they just couldn't get enough height to reach the coin, so getting the star just wasn't gonna happen. So yeah, after all of that, we end up 1 star short of Bandy's record of 134. Which means he is still Nintendo royalty, and we, Press A, are just complete trash. Well, I hope no one took that video seriously, because that was completely unhinged. I actually really like Bandy as a YouTuber and watch a lot of his videos, so I hope this didn't come across insulting in any way. I was just trying to have some fun. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Really Tall, Migu, Bobby Bob, Skiko Now, Sharkly91, Rupa, Josh 65536, Polished Grain, Emily the Koopa, Husen, Logan Shook, who is the one who compiled the list in the first place, and obviously Adeal, who honestly made this video possible. Thank you so much to everyone mentioned. This video would not have been possible without all of your help. Anyways guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video. This video was made possible through the support of our amazing patrons. I want to give a special shout out to Rebecca Lyons, Lay Burb, Puddles Megan, Nice Gamer Musics, Serena Bliss, TXCS_14. Blue Pikmin is the best Pikmin, and if you say otherwise, then Louie will eat your soul. Also, this is a completely real name. Young Smokey VP $17, Young Smokey VP 17, Clone Trooper Wheeler, Real Backfish, and Yellow Pikmin are the best.